Good morning there, you sexy people. Welcome back to Failcast F1. Cheers, it's morning coffee time. I'm a wreck because I got no sleep last night or the night before. But not as much of a wreck as our car's going to be. Both our R&D projects failed, and that means we have no upgrades for Singapore. And in some respects we have the worst car on the grid. So it's time for what I'm calling morning coffee and collisions. We're going to do a quick race, and then I'm going to take some breakfast, and then we're going to come back later in the morning, and the aim is to finish season 1 today. That's my goal, because I won't have as much time to stream in the coming weeks, so we've got to get on it. I have to say, I bet the car looks amazing in the night. We will stick with the default setup. Why don't we go and set ourselves a nice early banker lap? Move into the centre of the camera for you. Right, I hope no one's in my way. I mean, it costs nothing to be nice, but who has the time, right? Who has the time? Big, huge, amazing, massive thank you to each and every one of you who's been commenting and joining in the chats on the live streams and watching on replay, and all the lovely people over on the YouTube channel. I am pathetically grateful. It's really appreciated, and it's nice to be able to be putting content back up on YouTube. I still plan to come back with Grand Prix World. I just I need to find the time and inclination to fix my old iMac. I've already ballsed up this lap, I think, but let's keep pushing, and then I might have to shut up for my next lap just to make sure we put in the best lap we can. I quite like Singapore. It's visually my favourite Grand Prix of the season to watch on TV because everything looks so freaking awesome. It looks great in the game as well, but it's somehow not as psychologically intimidating as Monaco. It doesn't haunt my nightmares in the same way. You know, someone only has to say Lowe's hairpin and I get like a shiver down my spine, and Vietnam War flashbacks. You went there, man. You went there. I love this section. Unfortunately, we're really missing those upgrades that failed. So we're going to be down on power even more than we already are. And we had an aero update and a weight reduction that were also due here. And certainly the weight reduction I'm missing. The car has felt over the season increasingly heavy, which seems odd, and stuff like that happens. Good morning, my friend, how are you? You joined just in time. Do you know, I wondered what it was that triggered that accident, because I never crash. Everyone knows this. I'm a competent driver. Hey Wodge, how you doing, mate? Your mod status should be fixed, so mod wars, baby. So yeah, to summarise, all our upgrades for this Grand Prix failed, and the car feels heavy and annoying and slow, and it's a shame because I quite like the circuit. I'm going to come back in, jog time on a little bit, and then we'll go out again. And I will shut up and stop making bad jokes and try and focus on the lap. Holy crap, we had Michael J. Fox on the front left tyre there for a moment. Oh, I'm pleased, mate, I'm glad. I too have well, actually mine's an iced coffee and it's really bad for me and I have to stop drinking it because it's full of sugar. But it's the only thing that gets me to the nightmares. Right, let's jog time on a little bit, and what I'm going to do is we'll do quali, we'll do the race. I'll take a quick break to grab some breakfast. It'll be a very short break, and then I'm going to bash out in one day the rest of the season, because I won't have as much time next week to stream every day, and I'm in Denmark at the start of next month, so I'm trying to get the content out now, you know, remain relevant. 7 minutes to go. Where are we? Are we behind Mick Schumacher? We are behind Mick Schumacher. I did a really terrible lap though. I was trying to be funny and admiring myself in the corner of the screen, and I wasn't paying attention. So let's see. I hope everyone's feeling fresher than I am, because I had a lot of fun on last night's stream, but yeah, I didn't sleep much. The car looks beautiful under the night lights, by the way, and in the pit lights it goes a different shade of purple, and I actually quite like it. Right, I'll be silent now. Let's see if I can be competent with you all watching. Scary when there's real people watching. Oh, also a quick shout out as well. I didn't know, but Canaanite, who is a regular in chat and has been watching for years, I didn't realise he has a Twitch channel. But it's well worth checking out, so a little plug for you there, mate. I had quite good fun before bed last night, watching you guys play golf with friends, so... I haven't received a patch yet, but they tend to patch the PC first, so maybe... because PlayStation and Xbox, your patches have to go through like a verification process, and it costs you money. So they always patch the PC version, and then the others follow later because they have to be sort of manually approved. But that's exciting. Like I'm hoping for a patch to solve a number of issues, plus add in hopefully some updated liveries for particularly the McLaren. At some point this weekend, I don't know if it will happen because Simon's schedule's a bit at the mercy of a variety of different effects. However, I am hoping we will do at least a 1 to 2 hour stream together, learning to use our race wheels. If not, I will do a wheel stream sometime this week. And my plan is I'm going to keep going with my team, but at some point, once the Elgato streaming equipment arrives and I can stream to other places, I will do I'll do a driver career mode starting in F2, and we'll crank the difficulty right up and we'll see how much we can take. I don't know if I'll do that with the wheel. It depends how incompetent I am with the wheel, because in the last game the car does not like turning. Because in the last game the wheel made me 6 to 7 tenths slower per lap, and I crashed even more. It's easier to catch a spin with the wheel, but it's a lot harder to make corners. Where's all my time gone? I'm hoping I will be this year, mate. I'm hoping I will be. You never know where Google are going to invite you. But I've been invited to Zurich twice, and I love Zurich. It's a really great city. Usually they invite us around the start of autumn and again in the spring. So maybe sometime September, October, if I find myself in town, I will definitely ping you and we'll go for a beer, because I think you've earned a beer putting up with my bullshit for this long. It can be my round and you can pay me back another time. Okay, that's better. P14. I still think we could have been faster, but given that I only slept like 4 hours last night, that's not too shabby. And I'm feeling chirpy, if not particularly fresh. And if we get a good start off the line, because it's so hard to overtake here a lot of the time, we might just be able to tickle out the tail end of the points. That would be fun. Oh, we're starting alongside our teammate. We got bumped down to 16th. Lame. I guess the track really rubbered in at the at the very, very last run. I have a real hard time timing my last runs, actually, because I like to give myself enough time to definitely get round and maybe have enough time in hand to do another lap if I absolutely have to. Whereas the AI are a bit less fastidious, and they will go out usually in a long conga line at the very last minute. And if you get caught in that conga line on your hot lap, it just fucks everything, because even though the AI will try and get out of your way, they don't do it everywhere. So yeah, it just ruins your lap. Okay, leaning in now. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Oh well, I've come out early. Why did I do that? Answer my own question. Fucking idiot. Still, the track is empty at least. And I'm not too bothered. I definitely don't want to get into Q3 because, again, it's another circuit where I think we'll benefit from being on the harder tyre. So, you know, if we line up 16th, then that's fine. We can't be out-qualified by Mick Schumacher now, at least, because he's out. But it's encouraging to see him top the timing of the people who failed to progress to the next level, because it shows he's catching up to Jordan King. Our best qualifying of our teammate was P16, so for him to get P17 on his third race, I'm happy with that. And after this Grand Prix, hopefully we'll have some more time available to boost his stats, and then we'll be in the final stretch of the season, and we can make a decision regarding next year's livery and next year's driver, which will be fun. We should be more competitive next year as well, because I'm doing I see he's got your vote already. The thing is, I feel like Mick Schumacher is in everyone's team. So it kind of feels like I'm lacking imagination a little bit. But I definitely am glad we took him simply to test the theory that he's OP. I honestly can't comment because I haven't seen much of David Schumacher's work. But it would be cool to see Ralf Schumacher's son turn out to be the talented one, proving conclusively that talent always skips a generation.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1:40.2.
Right, that was good enough for P11. We've got quite a gap there to Kimi Räikkönen, but he's definitely going to catch us as the track rubbers in. And we're going to end up P16, I guess. But I don't mind too much. And I've logged it in my memory now, which corners on this track the car does not respond well to at all. And I will ensure that I don't attempt any overtakes there. Yeah, P16, that's what I thought. We just went out too early because I wasn't paying attention. Right. The banner down at the bottom changes this afternoon. However, my Elgato stuff is on its way. Robot Lee McKenzie. Literally none. Why are you doing this to me? Literally none of those guys. I can't keep up with them. I'm just going to drain the claim. I'm not happy with my performance today at all. I could have been less stupid, but that's not an option. Where has been a problem? It has, to be fair. I don't mind. I'm just shitting on the durability department constantly. But I am expecting... I mean, I thought actually I'd wake up to a patch this morning, because I did hear that PC had received some form of update, and I thought, well, maybe they'll push and get it live for Saturday, but it wouldn't surprise me now to see a PlayStation patch maybe on Monday. Mick Schumacher is now more marketable. Doesn't he look a bit like a murderer when he's doing that thing with his hands? He looks a bit like a murderer. I can complete the look with a set of leather appearance gloves, because I don't have many prejudices, because I don't think it's cool to be prejudiced, but one I definitely do have is that anytime I see a man in a long raincoat and leather gloves, I immediately presume he's a contract killer. What other explanation is there? Has to be a contract murderer. I mean, it's a very uncomfortable ensemble. It's hard to match. So, murderer. You heard it here first.
It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
You were no fucking help at all, so you can be quiet. And actually, I was watching someone else's stream this morning. Wstep, he's an American streamer. He's been playing a lot of F1. He doesn't normally play F1 games, from what I can tell, because, you know, it's just not got the same market penetration in America. But he's loving the new game, and he's been streaming for like 16 hours straight. But Jeff completely fucked him in the race that I saw. That's what we need: murderer trench coats. If we ever get to the point where we're allowed to have merchandise, that's definitely going to be it. Contract killer leather gloves and trench coat merch in Simon's distinctive pink and yellow colour scheme. You definitely stand out. I don't know how I'm feeling about this race. Our pace in the second half of the season has been like super up and down. I think part of it as well is that I'm not doing setups. In my offline career mode playthrough, I am making... Exactly. I like that. That tickled me. It's a beautiful setting for a Grand Prix, this.
Returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging...
Let's see if he talks about our team at all.
Marina-based street circuit then has 23 corners.
But yeah, our pace has been super mercurial, and in my career mode offline, I'm spending time refining setups, and I've got a really good one for Austria, and a really good one for Bahrain. My Vietnam and China setups are terrible, but my one for Zandvoort is excellent. So hopefully next season we should be faster. Super Agurical, yes. This is the kind of puns that we need. I knew there's a reason I keep you guys around. Mwah, chef's kiss, mate. That's fantastic.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like.
We know it's a Mercedes 1-2, so the rest of it... Mercedes have run away with the championship. I think it's mathematically impossible now for anyone to catch them in the constructors, so I apologise if at the end of the races I'm skipping over the standings. I will make more of an effort to show you, but Mercedes have like close to 500 points. It's not even close. It's not even close. And that's even after Valtteri Bottas suicided himself at the last Grand Prix. Yep, that's the strategy I wanted. It's starting to learn. It's preempting me, but this is slightly faster apparently, so let's do that. Okay. I'm promising I'm going to be on my best behaviour. If I do run into anyone, which you know will happen, it's genuine mistake. I'll keep an eye on my tyre temps and I'll start trying to brake earlier, and let's see if I can have a nice clean Grand Prix. Although turn 1 is always a clusterfuck. See if I can find a gap. Oh, I should have gone where Raikkonen was. Please leave a car width for me. Yeah, he's alongside me. I couldn't. There we go. I had to cede the position because otherwise I'd just pinch him into the wall. Wow, we are down on pace. Well, it's going to be a racy Grand Prix, guys. I stuck my nose in where I shouldn't have done that. I'm very sorry. Ooh. Let me put the battery on and see if I can't get ahead of the horse. Yeah, I know. That was possibly the scariest moment so far. I think I've lost my end plates, to be honest. Yes, I have. So that'll be a longer pit stop than I would otherwise intend. But at least I lost them in racing incidents, and I'm not flashing. I'm not flashing back. I'm trying to prove I can be a responsible driver, mostly for my own satisfaction. Because I keep saying I can, but there's no real evidence. I didn't notice the gun comment till just now. To be honest, I can't tell if you're joking or not, because you live in Switzerland, right? And I believe most of the men there are armed, and very responsible gun owners from what I hear. Esteban Ocon out of the race. Poor guy. I have to say as well, I love how well prepared your country is. It's ridiculous. I was reading, maybe they're disarmed, but I was reading that your bridges are still rigged to blow in case of invasion, and you have like days and days of supplies in underground bunkers. It's very sexy. To be honest, that's how a government should be run. And, you know, certainly your interwar government were very smart cookies, because not even Hitler dared fuck with you. I'm sure he was tempted because of all the wealth held inside the country, but took one look at it and was like, nah mate, it's not worth it. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the smartest cookie, was he? I mean, aside from being a total piece of shit, the opening up a war he was winning on two fronts, and then losing the war because of it, isn't exactly the mark of a tactical genius, is it? I mean, that is a war strategy developed by a man who was a failed art student. You can just tell. I don't know if it's the tyres or just me or the car, but we definitely don't have the pace of the racing points. We're also suffering because I lost my end plates fighting with him. I tell you who else is quite handy, since we're talking about European militaries. Sweden are properly kitted out. I didn't even realise, man. They're properly advanced. They have like an armed neutrality policy, so you get countries like Ireland, for example, that are neutral and they just have like a defence force. But like Switzerland, they have armed neutrality, so it's like, we're staying out of it, but if you try and drag us into it, you're going to regret it. And I have nothing but respect for that position. I think it's the way to be. not trying to police the world, but just saying, leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. That's a philosophy I can totally get behind. I only found this out, actually, because I was emailing back and forth with a Norwegian relative, and casually mentioned, because we were talking about how Austria and Germany have like an interesting relationship, because German culture just kind of bleeds into everything. And he was saying that, in his opinion, Norwegians have a bit of an inferiority complex as well, because Sweden's just tooled up. Right, we are dropping back from Landstroll, but we are keeping Magnussen behind us, and we're pulling away from cars behind our little gaggle. We are on the slower tyre, so we're going to have pace on a lighter car on the soft tyre later on, so I'm excited for that. The main thing now is just not letting the fact we've lost the end plates on the front wing damage our pace too much, so I'm trying to liberally use the battery power. I'm afraid it's a lot harder to interact with chat on this track. Harder than Monaco, actually. I think it's because I'm carrying more speed more often. And because I'm trying to prove I can get around a street circuit without constantly pinballing from barrier to barrier, it's a little harder. I don't know if that's really extra fuel or not. Where's Mick Schumacher? I'm trying to spot him on the mini-map, but he's the same colour as my car, obviously, so he doesn't really show up very clearly.
The car ahead is 3 seconds up on you.
Yeah, there's actually already some floating bridges, and I tell you something that Norway does really well, apart from being stupidly wealthy, is they're super serious about protecting the landscape, which that's brilliant because it's such a beautiful country. And when I was in Stavanger, I took a boat out on the fjords, and they were building a full-on highway. And I guess that was part of the project. And you couldn't see it from any of the hiking trails or from the boats, because they followed the natural lay of the land. So the road's a bit longer than maybe it should be, but it costs far less to construct because you're not basically terraforming the landscape. And you didn't hear the traffic noise because it was sheltered by the trees and sound barriers. And you couldn't see it from anywhere where you were likely to be, so the landscape still looked completely untouched. And it's very rare that I notice or care enough about a construction project that it sticks in my mind, but oh yeah, I definitely road trip it, 110%. It's where I spend most of my time, when apart from Germany where I live, obviously. I adore the place. Right. Well, going longer on our first stint has got us up to 7th. It obviously won't last. The only downside is it's really, really expensive, and the first time I ever went as a adult of legal age, I decided I was just going to have a few beers in the sun. Not that it's sunny all that often. And I was having a grand old time, but I thought, 3-4 beers and then home, that'll be nice. And then the bill came, and like with tip, it was like €50.
The gap to the car ahead is
It was ridiculous. It was like €11 a beer. And also, like they can't sell you alcohol from stores after 5 p.m. So they're all in like these special fridges with lockable doors. So you're in the supermarket and they're going round. It looks like they're closing the store, but they're just locking all the alcohol into these metal racks. Yeah, that was smart. Oh, I technically exceeded track limits there, but if the game didn't care, then I don't see why I should. Yeah, and actually out of them all, Finland's the cheapest, and Denmark is actually the most expensive. It used to be Norway, but Denmark's gotten crazy expensive, particularly for like groceries. I'm in Copenhagen fairly frequently as well, and I love that city. It's beautiful, and I can navigate it now without even really thinking. But everything is expensive, and even if you say, okay, I'm going to cook for myself at home, you spend a huge amount of money in the supermarkets. I'm sorry, there must be some mistake, because I'm pretty sure me and Mick Schumacher are running second and third in the Singapore Grand Prix. I think that's what's happening. And he's probably catching me because I think my tyres are... No, they're not overheating, so it's just me driving badly. Yeah, we're still into pit stop, but I mean, regardless, he's never run this high before. Well, if we do, then it's him that suffers. I'm hoping that we don't. Let me see if Jeff tells me anything. Driver behind.
Nick is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 2.7 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 7 laps old.
But if he's on the same...
They've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 45.3.
We think he's got one more stop. You're his fucking race engineer too. Or at least one of your friends are. In your secret cabal. No, see, the thing is, he should be on the strategy that was recommended to me, so he should actually pit a lap after me. So, I mean, Vettel's the clear winner here, because me and Mick Schumacher are going to hold up those Mercedes, I'm sure. I'm going to have a slow stop because I'm guessing the crew will elect to change my wing. I could manually tell them not to, but I'd rather let the AI decide, because it should be clear cut as to whether it's costing me time or not. And if it is, then I'd rather take the hit in the pit stop and see how fast I can actually go. Given how poorly we qualified and how worried I was coming into this Grand Prix about our pace, it's not gotten too bad. And for all its faults, and they are many, the car's not actually bad on tyre wear, it's just bad on tyre temperatures. It does scream safety car, doesn't it? It's the official home of the safety car fan club.
This lap, so push now.
Right, I've been saving some battery charge, so let's use it for a fast in-lap, because we're going to have to make up the extra time that we're going to potentially lose chasing time in our final stint by changing the wing. Oh yeah, the gap between Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas down to 0.2 of a second. I'm hoping that he does fight. I mean, it's a hard circuit to overtake on, so if he wants, he can probably hold position, but he didn't, did he? Not much of an effort there, but he's still got half a second to Lewis. That won't last long either. But, I mean, all you have to do is place your car in the right place, and because the AI is not kamikaze suicidal AI like it was in the last version of the game, you should be able to keep them behind you. Highlight of the race so far for me, though, was those corners wheel-to-wheel with Magnussen's Haas. Because I know if we'd done that in 2019, he would have turned it in on me and just tried to spin me round. We do get the fireworks at the end of the Grand Prix. Definitely. Although we may only see them in the distance because obviously we're going to be nowhere near whoever wins the race. I hate this pit entrance. Right, come on lads. Make myself comfortable. Let's see how slow this pit stop is. Yeah, they're changing my nose, so it needed to be done. Look at how close the field is though. Look how many places we lost. Yeah, they are really slow. I lose a lot of time in the pits. Freaking loads.
Pit strategy complete.
But
see these tyres through to the end.
I'm sure we can improve that. I just don't know how. Because there's nothing that clearly says this will improve your pit stop times. Okay, but we have a new wing. We've not been bashing the wing on the walls. If we can keep that up. And also, I don't want to jinx myself, but you may have noticed 0 flashbacks in this race. So we're keeping it classy. I'm trying to explain it in canon by saying that the pit crew secretly hate me because I'm a cruel boss. All their performance reviews get really, really personal, and I keep promising bonus checks but never delivering them. And that's why they deliberately change my wing sometimes unnecessarily and give me slow pit stops. That's my explanation for it. Well, I mean, it's believable, isn't it? I mean, you'd think working for me that would be unbearable. So it's a good as explanation as any. And the factory is just full of photos of me. You know that meme of the guy in third place, like spraying the champagne and biting his medal and flipping everyone off? It'd be that, but real pictures of me, and it'd be on all the walls, you know, with captions like Brazil P19, and me just going mental. And no pictures of anybody else in the team anywhere in the factory. Of course I had cheap labour. Some of them are just kids on stilts. Or like 2 toddlers inside a fireproof race suit.
6.2 seconds.
Yeah, I think we lost too much time in the pits. Well, you'd think so, right? I mean, they eat less, so the catering bill comes down. They need less sleep, and they've got the little hands that can get into all the difficult-to-reach places. You're completely correct. And I think I could pull off being sort of like a Fagin-like figure, you know, with my pit crew of Cockney pickpockets. No, precisely. Underneath their helmets, they've been using the paints just to paint their faces. They're all tigers and dinosaurs. Wow, a late stop from Mick Schumacher. I'm guessing he's going to come out ahead of me though, because I lost 9 seconds plus the time in the pit lane. So Oh no, no, we're coming out ahead of him. Okay, 3 seconds to Giovinazzi. I think the best we can hope for though is getting past him, maybe Grosjean. There's no chance of points. And even if we do catch them, it's going to be very hard to find a good place to get by them. So I'm going to already start saving up battery charge. And I'm hoping to, again, get through the race, no flashbacks. So I'm going to have to be really 100% sure when I go for the overtake. And this is one of the tracks where it's very hard to be 100% sure because yes, but there's only 3 laps to go and I have to actually catch him and get by him. That's why I'm being conservative in my estimations. I mean, I could just do the classic 0 overtake. Just barge in there unannounced, kick the back door in, and fly by in a totally inappropriate place, causing him to spin. I mean, it costs nothing to be nice, but who has the time for that bollocks? Does anyone know if Quali for the Styrian Grand Prix is actually cancelled? I meant to check Autosport before I went live, but I was too excited to do gaming. Yeah, I hope not too. That was my plan for my afternoon. Being fat on the sofa with a beer and a bit of Crofty and Brundle. Yeah, I'd love a rainy quali, like proper heavy bucketing down rain. The thing is though, I imagine that would really screw the Red Bulls and Ferraris because, as we keep saying, both those cars look super twitchy, particularly the Red Bull, and I'm just wondering how well it would cope in the rain. It'd be funny to see the Alpha Tauris up there because last year's Red Bull looked a little more planted. Exactly. Big Bulls Racing PLC. Cower in the shadow of my genius. Behold the clanging sound, the chime of my massive brass testicles. I'm in the DRS zone, which means disaster is imminent. I'm afraid, boys, not all of us is coming out of this race alive. And if it's a choice between me, a floppy-haired Italian, and Romain Grosjean, then I think we all know who needs to win. Okay, on the overtake button with Durs.
Okay, you're catching the car ahead, but remember we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
There was some big balls racing for you. It didn't work. But I went for it. Are you proud of me? I don't know because as much as I want rainy conditions, I'd like high temperature and humidity because of the potential reliability problems in some of the faster cars. And also, to be honest, even when it storms, it's still hot and humid. So, I don't know. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say we'll get a DNF from one of the Mercedes. I really think, particularly if the Red Bulls manage to make it to the end, so Mercedes have got some genuine challenge and they can't team orders their way out of it, I really do think one of those cars will shake its gearbox to pieces. I don't think we're going to get past these guys. It's so difficult to get past one without running into the back of the other when they're running so close like that. And I made a big ball power gamer move to get down the inside of Giovinazzi, which I thought he'd just fold like a cheap suit and let me by, but he really wants 17th place and all the prestige and and the women and the money that comes with such a title.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
I like how he says that like it's a problem. Does mean I've got some extra fuel to play with though.
Final lap of the race.
Right, come on, let's see if I can't get some good grip on corner exit here. No, is the answer to that. I could honestly see Mick Schumacher coming in to replace Kimi at Alpha. But I mean, he wouldn't be my choice personally, but it seems kind of predestined in the stars, and I do think Kimi will retire this year. I mean, sadly, and it does break my heart because I love Sauber deeply, but that Alpha looks terrible. And I don't think they have enough time or inclination to develop their way out of it. Drivers that I'd really recommend for F1, but they're tied into the junior programs of other teams. So it's hard to say. There's the fireworks for you. As predicted, the car just didn't quite have the legs to get by Giovinazzi and make it stick. But I'm proud of us. It was a fun race, particularly the first stint wheel to wheel with Magnussen, and turning the difficulty up, I think, is making the racing even more satisfying. I'm having as much, if not more, fun racing for 18th than I was when we were tickling the points, because it feels more genuine. And as the car gets upgraded, the sense of achievement, I can feel it. It's going to be good.
How did they manage to achieve this win?
I think that's smart time management.
Who do we pick for pole? Who's going to get pole, do you reckon, in Styria?
That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
For a second there, I thought Bottas was just flipping everyone off. I mean, that would be a good pole emote, but I'm sure they won't put it in the game, as good as it would be. I think it would be Giovinazzi and Mick, to be honest. I'd love to see Hulk back as well, just because I think, yes, he didn't ever get a podium, but he got a raw deal. So
let's review the updated driver standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Fins have we had now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great.
Hulk to Haas. I'd get behind that, but to be honest, you might as well say leaving in retirement. I mean, it's a fucking terrible car. So,
be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Now, Crofty, shut up. Here are your drivers' standings at the moment. Lewis Hamilton, points leader, 314 points to the 281 of Valtteri Bottas. Both of them embarrassing the Ferraris in the shower. Look at the points differential there. The Red Bulls running nose to tail, P5 and P6. Carlos Sainz having a great season, particularly the second half for P7. We are sat P8, but we've got a cushion down to Danny Rick. By the end of the season, that may have evaporated, but it's good. In the constructors' standings, we are ahead of Renault by 6 points, but that's not going to last very long. We are way behind McLaren, but they're having a hell of a season. Ferrari now about to break 600 points, 181 points ahead of Ferrari. It's mathematically impossible now for them to win the title. So I was going to finish the stream by saying it's all to play for, but it clearly fucking isn't. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to go get some breakfast. I will be back fairly shortly, maybe half an hour tops, and then I'll be live pretty much all the morning and early afternoon, because I want to finish the season today. That's my goal. Yeah, go and eat something, grab a coffee, and I hope you can join me later on. Love you. Bye. Bye. Mwah. Mwah.